And now, back to the Wad Fam Chalk Pod.
Hello and welcome to the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. I'm Dylan Weaver.
And I'm really good looking.
Amen. It's a visual podcast, so I don't know that the Chalk Squad understands this, but Andrew's coming in here looking like a hunk tonight.
Oh yeah. It's Magic Mike tearaway pants time. Q pony. Mm-hmm. That's what we do here. We talk about Adventures in Odyssey and we strip.
Yeah, you know? It's the beauty of an audio medium is you really just you get it in the tone of our voice
that we're naked,
even though you're not actually seeing it. Mm-hmm. It's very intimate.
Yeah, Dylan's abs look great right now.
The episode we're talking about today is episode 446B, the Seven Deadly Dwarves. And today, Andrew is representing the Dwarf of Lust.
Amen. Yep. I am, Dylan is representing the sin of, or the Dwarf of Pride.
Nailed it. Good work.
Thank you.
Oh, man. It's an episode.
It does exist.
It first aired May 13th of 2000. It was written by Jim Ware, and it was directed by Phil Lawler. And this is the final split episode.
This is the last split one. They decided after this, no more.
Yeah, this is where it ends, guys. Split episode summer has come to an end just in time for Halloween.
This is the 500th day of summer, if you will. That is... It's depressing, in all honesty, that there's no more of these because they're so crazy.
You want to hear a dumb nothing that just popped into my head that I got to share, which is 500 days of summer. It's got the parentheses around the 500 days of summer. My idea years ago for a Phineas and Ferb watch along podcast was 104 in parentheses days of summer.
That's great, actually. That is. I'm sure that exists on the internet now because it's too good of an idea to not have been thought of by somebody else as well.
I don't know, man. Nobody came to Wad Fam Chalk Pod before us.
True.
Shout out to the Wad Fam Odd Pod, which is the same joke, except they decided to make it make sense, and we just went
The world famous chocolate podcast.
Right. What if it doesn't make any sense? What if it doesn't mean anything? What if it's just word association?
Nobody knows what it means, but it's provocative.
Oh, man. So, I don't know where we're at here. Oh.
This episode is insane.
Yeah, in such a good way. I've got a special place for it. It has a 70% on the wiki with 51 votes, which I think is really evidence that the reclamation of these episodes has occurred because Seven Deadly Dwarves and Bethany's Flood are oft regarded worst episodes of Odyssey.
Yeah,
and the wiki people clearly disagree at least a wee bit, and they're like, "Hey, we kind of like this.
It's not worse than Maury."
No, it's not.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like looking back on, the past and just being like, oh yeah, remember when things were like goofy and chill and not like particularly loaded? And yeah, that's like
you miss it. It sounds
real rose-colored glasses on this episode. It's like it takes us back to simpler times when Odyssey's main concern was entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, sound effects.
I don't think to be clear, I don't think Odyssey's main concern was ever entertainment.
No,
but I feel like the combination of this stuff and the Novacom era really does feel like some of the least theologically charged Odyssey ever got.
Oh yeah, definitely the farthest from the
like it's
the narrow path.
Right, like there are morality tales,
yeah,
and a spy
Bible.
mystery.
Yeah.
But like even like I feel like we haven't really talked about that much. But like even like Blackguard is way more theologically or spiritually is better because it's not really theologically charged, but it's very spiritually charged.
Yeah, it's like spiritual warfare and
right
the whole
in a way that like Novacom flirts with, but is more focused on what if we did like entertaining spy stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, this feels like it's in a similar vein. And I even think that carries through pretty well into like your Green Ring and stuff. Like, I don't think about Green Ring as being particularly like ideologically charged.
No, not really.
And then,
I mean, there's the whole like counterfeit faith theme,
right?
I guess that,
but
runs
it's not.
through it.
It's not the hard pivot that's like ties that bind brings.
Yeah, exactly. Or as we stated, like to the level of Blackguard, where it's like very much central to the plot that there's like a spiritual battle going on.
Right. Well, it's like early Odyssey needed to shoehorn scripture into every episode, like pretty like within the context of the episode, whereas latter Odyssey or this era of Odyssey seems content to just kind of give Chris a little plug at the end for like the Novacom stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably what makes those episodes more palatable.
Oh yeah, for sure. Probably is what makes them better.
And not that we came down super critically on Blackguard.
No, we didn't.
But it has more moments where you're like, they're trying to like, they're really going for something here.
Yeah. They're
child
psychology going for something.
Whatever. Yes, exactly. Whereas, I don't know that Novacom was going for anything other than
telling a good story. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and it makes sense that they were able to do that because it was, I think at that time, shifted more towards what have we already created rather than like still establishing their identity.
Sure.
Where it's like, oh, we've got this great, super filled out town, so we can have like a community-wide kind of event where you get something like Novacom that touches, corners of Odyssey that you don't really regularly visit or vaguely, but you don't have personal attachment to, and you get to do all these really cool things. Yeah,
and you don't...
We should just cover Novacom. We haven't done that, right?
Yeah, no.
How did we forget Novacom?
Oh, man. But, this is really interesting. I don't know. I feel like we haven't quite put a finger on this before.
No, certainly not.
Now I'm happy about it.
Yeah.
But and the right. I think it's also telling that this era of the show is when like the Last Chance Detectives happens, which is them going even more of like, what if we just made a show that like wasn't like, what if we made a show that truly wasn't Christian and that wasn't like part of, I mean, like it's tangentially there and we're focused on the family and like the goal is to get you to listen to our other stuff, but we were trying to make something that's like generally consumable.
Yeah, generally consumable, just good entertainment, foot in the door type stuff.
Well, and they also do the whole their whole audio theater spinoff of like, what if we did like, what if we dramatized classic literature? Some of which is explicitly Christian in like the C.S. Lewis stuff, and others of which isn't.
Yeah, I saw they did Les Mis,
right? Like, so there's I mean that's
biblical themes in Les Mis.
Sure, and that's I'm sure what they're going for there. Like they're not covering something that's explicitly not Christian.
Beowulf.
But they have a little bit, I don't know. It's just the ebbs and flows of the show, and this era where I feel like is where we most come up against the like, It just kind of feels like an episode of Arthur.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Or of a spy show.
Or of any other just relatively wholesome kids programming that's like...
Sure, yeah. And you have early Odyssey, which is trying to establish that foothold. And then, like, at this point, we're just kind of coasting.
Yeah.
But then, like... I don't quite, because I'm not super familiar with New Odyssey. I don't feel like I can easily put my finger on where that shift begins or like starts to pivot hard back. Obviously, though, Ties That Bind is that. I think it's interesting, though, that Ties That Bind is 2014, which it feels like if Odyssey was going to like pivot hard back, it would have happened like, I don't know, maybe a year or two after that point.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, it's interesting that they almost preempt
they
some of the like...
They jump the gun.
Right, right. But it's like I don't know, maybe they just read it in the tea leaves or something that like a wave's coming and we gotta like prepare the kids for what's next. But like it is such a... Yeah, I'm just like, what was it that made them think in 2014, like, oh, now's the time?
Well, when was gay marriage legalized?
That is literally what as soon as I said that, I was like, shoot, it was
either 2012 or it was 2014. It was one of the other.
I was going to say, it is for sure in that range. So you're right, that's 100% what a bummer. Odyssey.
It is June 26th, 2015, actually. So
this was...
No, you were right.
So this was ahead of that as well?
Yep.
All right. You know what? I'm done psychoanalyzing Odyssey. Let's talk about the Seven Deadly Dwarves.
Amen. This episode
we were like,
this
is going to be one of our shortest episodes ever, like Bethany's Flood. And then we just spent 10 minutes talking about the entire scope of the show. But that's what you get out of the last of an era. You know?
Exactly.
There is one. So we had already covered Two Roads, so we skipped that one. There's the unreleased episode that we cannot cover unless someone leaks it to us. I'm looking at you, Nathan Hubler.
Please, dear God.
And there is one other that like kind of counts but doesn't, which is Welcome to Wit's End, which is a 15-minute teaser they recorded that was basically like, this is an on-ramp for people to get into Odyssey. And it's not part of this era, and it doesn't air on the radio.
Yeah.
It's not split with something else, but it is a short episode, so the wiki lists it.
Okay, I did wonder why that was on there. Okay, that makes sense.
Yep. Well, you wonder, Andrew, and I answer. That's my thing. That's
before we jump into our coverage, do you have any memories of this episode as a child? Like, did you listen to this at all?
Yes, in that I know I listened to this album.
Yeah.
At least once, but I think more than that. But I think it was probably a 2-time album. Yeah. I think that the cover art got me at least once, probably twice.
It's good cover art.
But I don't think that this was not one that I like continually went back to. And so I didn't have a good memory of Seven Deadly Dwarves.
This was one that we got from the church library that never made it back when we returned it, so we just had this cassette.
Oh, nice. So that's the thing, Andrew, is I might have listened to this album a bunch of times and never listened to this episode because the cassette was at your house.
That would be my fault, or most likely Brendan's. But
yeah. Friend of the show, Brendan Sabo.
Yes. We haven't had him on in so long because we're secretly resentful of him. The more episodes we cover, the more we realize the terror he's caused.
I know. Like, he shielded me from this great episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I'm confident I heard it once for sure. But whether that was on cassette or on the radio online is unknown. Oh, man.
Oh, my goodness. So this episode begins...
Does it?
Does it? We can't be sure. With the shepherds coming back from church, talking about are talking to Bethany like about what she learned in church, and she says that, oh, we learned about the 7 deadly dwarves, but then they're like, no, that's wrong. It's the 7 deadly sins. And
Aubrey chimes in to say that she had read Snow White to her the night before.
Exactly.
And then
word association,
right,
the
right.
episode.
Yeah, and then right, conversation goes on to talk about what her Ben is like tells Aubrey that he was cleaning out the garage and he found Jared's bugging equipment, which I love.
Yeah.
Once again, like we previously talked about that with with her having his lockpick in the treasure room episode.
Yeah.
And now we're coming back around
with his bugging stuff.
Yeah, I love that Jared was like, I'm leaving town, you're new here. What if you had all of my like nefarious equipment?
What if I just gave you like, means of stealing things?
Yeah,
anything.
Yeah, right. Just like all my like janky spy stuff. I love it. But the reason that's mentioned is so that they can say his last name, which is Dwight, so that can be a part of Bethany's dream. We also though have he asks her to like return Jared's equipment to the hardware store, which makes no sense except that they want hardware store as part of the plot.
They really do.
And then,
wouldn't have worked if it was an electronics store.
Right. And then Ben needs to use his step ladder to do something around the house that Ellen's asking for him to do. And all of those things are going to... she's hanging the mirror in the hall. And he uses the stepladder to hang the mirror. Yep. And Bethany starts to drift to sleep. And Aubrey refers to her as Sleeping Beauty. And it's like, okay, we're going in to Dream World again.
Fun times. Dream World is so special.
Before we get into the dream itself... This concept of the 7 deadly sins, was that something you were exposed to as a child?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was not a factor of my upbringing.
I mean, so I don't know that it was always a big deal, but it was... Yeah, there was the fruits of the spirit and the 7 deadly sins, and those were the things that you knew.
I think that's a homeschool thing.
It probably was.
7 deadly sins is only a phrase I know from pop culture.
Is it in the Bible?
I don't believe so.
It's gotta be.
I mean, I don't think that phrase is. I mean, that the list of those sins for sure is, but that was not. Yeah, that was not a thing I ever encountered. And so it was...
No, it does says, there are 6 things that the Lord hates, 7 that are detestable to him, and then goes on to list them.
Sure. Where is that found?
Oh, let me click that link real quick. Proverbs 6:16. I'm sorry, 6:16 through 19.
Okay, sure. It just, it was not... That was not a part of my... understanding of sin and the Bible. It just that was never a part of my theological upbringing.
No, yeah.
And so it's I know about it because things in the real world reference it.
No, for sure, yeah. I think that was probably my first exposure to it was from movies, hearing about movies like 6 or was it? It's 7. The one about the 7 deadly sins. With the 7 people dying in 7 different ways.
It would have been funny if that was a bit, Andrew.
No, it would have been really funny if that was how... If I was smart enough to not just trip over my words.
Yeah, that's fine. Should have been called 8. The 7th, or the 8th sin being Kevin Spacey. Oh, man. But, yeah, So we go into the dream, and we get Corey Burton doing a great job as the narrator.
Bang up job, Corey Burton.
What a guy!
Oh, fun fact: I was just watching the Hercules animated series with my brother the other night. Yeah.
Sure.
For reasons.
I was expecting you to say my nephew.
No.
You said brother.
No, my brother, the one that's 7 years older than me, was like, "Yo, Andrew, you've got to watch this." And I heard so many voices I recognized from Odyssey, and Corey Burton was one of them.
This came out following the original movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, following the original movie for sure.
Yeah.
I think it was 1997.
Sure.
To
and I assume now it's on Disney Plus.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Oh man.
But Corey Burton does some heavy hitting in that show.
I'm glad to hear it. I'm always thrilled to hear him. And yeah, he does a great job as the narrator, which then Bethany like does some like fourth wall breaks and like it's a whole thing.
It's like, it's your dream.
But yeah, it just becomes a lot of, which I feel like is a joke Odyssey has leaned on in the past of the "it's your dream" kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like I feel like that.
Why does this not make sense? I don't know. It's your problem. You're listening to this,
right? Yep. And so yeah, it's all this stuff.
All this quick quippy humor.
Some of it's quippy, a lot of it's clunky.
No, yeah,
the
clunky,
clunkiest being like the evil stepmother being replaced by the good stepladder father.
Yeah.
It's.
I didn't think it was bad. I think stepladder.
I think it's hilarious in how rough it is.
Yeah.
And then, there was some point when in the run-up where she was talking
Wait,
about...
it wasn't intentionally rough? You don't think that was... I was operating under the guise that all of the clunky jokes were like...
No. It for sure, they knew it was clunky. It's just the question of does it cross the Maryland point or not?
That's fair.
Like, has it fully crested being that bad that it's now fun? Or is it like...
Still just bad.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it has. And
so, yeah, there's...
Jared left a fancy mirror in this instead of the spy equipment.
Yeah, it's weird thing about Jared's her cousin in the stream. Because everyone's got to be related because it's a fairy tale. Before she went into the dream, she mentioned sloths. Because when her dad was rattling off the 7 deadly sins and one's sloth, and she says like sloths like are in the Amazon. Are sloths in the Amazon?
Yeah. No, I mean, there are lots of places. They mostly hang out in jungles because
right. I mean, it makes sense. For some reason, I thought more like Southeast Asia when I think sloths.
Both.
Than I think Amazon.
Well, thanks to Amazon.com, the Amazon rainforest is currently under renovation. So they probably will be moving towards Southeast Asia in the near future. Maybe they can get prime
really
shipping.
Easy commute. All right, good work.
Thank you.
I'll give you that one. And so, yeah, so there are...
I was impressed by the fact that they had an Amazon.com joke in this and that held up as well as it did.
I thought the same thing. I was like, wow, that is prescient.
I cannot believe that this thing I found in the back of the fridge is still edible.
Right, because it could... there are so many things it could have been from that era that wouldn't have landed today.
Yeah.
You could have made it like in the event that it was like Napster.
Yeah.
Or
and AOL.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like there are so many companies from that
Even
time.
A MySpace joke would have been
sure. I mean, this is pre-MySpace. It's like this is so early internet.
Yeah.
And I mean it's 2000. And so
this is a cutting edge Amazon joke.
Right. So it just feels like, man, they don't know what they're doing, but I do and I like it. And so so she lives in the Amazon with weirdly a weird call out for Aborigines to be there from Australia. I don't understand why that's happening.
I think it's just using the wrong word.
I guess. And then there's the Amazon.com thing. Oh, and then we get a didgeridoo.
Yes, there is that.
Is the advantage to having the average brought into this is
hearing a didgeridoo.
Yeah. I mean, look,
it's a fun
here. I'm here for the didgeridoo. And
there's a
then
line in Letterkenny where he goes to a youth group and the youth pastor has a didgeridoo and the kid doesn't know what to do with himself.
what did didgeridoo with himself?
Yeah, no, yeah, and
Oh,
the
sorry,
pastor
is that
comes
the
up.
joke?
No, the pastor comes up and is like, "Did you like it?" And he's like, "No," and then walks away and he's like, "Oh, so you're more of a didgeridoo." There you go. That's my plug for this week. Letterkenny.
Here for it. And then so she's stumbling through the forest and comes around a cottage cheese house, which is officially the
Nightmare.
grossest sound effect that Odyssey has ever created.
Absolute nightmare.
It really paints a picture. Like
Lumpy, squishy everywhere.
Yeah. Major shout outs to either Rob Jorgensen or maybe Al Jansen, although I think it's probably Rob Jorgensen who's responsible for
presumably
the audio
filling up a bathtub with cottage cheese and stamping around in it for Foley work.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you. So when I used to listen to Wits End, like to the radio online, there were like trailer. So there was like an ad that they would run for, I forget if it was for like bonus features on albums or if it might have been, it was probably for the official podcast. But regardless, there's a clip of someone saying, "We created this sound by walking through oatmeal."
No.
And this is...
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yep.
That clip of, we created this sound by walking through oatmeal is like one of those phrases that is glued in my mind. Because I heard that dumb ad constantly.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was for the podcast.
And so this is the sound that they created by walking through oatmeal.
I hope so.
No, I mean, that's
Oh, wait,
fact
actually?
checked.
Fact checked.
Authentically, this is the oatmeal episode.
Man, that's disappointing. I really hope that they would just go the full 9 for cottage cheese.
Such incredible Foley work.
It's so good. It's too good.
It is.
It's upsetting.
Yeah, it is really upsetting.
I don't want to walk on cottage cheese.
Yeah. No, yeah. Oh, and are you a cottage cheese person, Andrew?
Nope.
Yeah, me either.
I think cottage cheese is incredible. Not to me, but I think that as a substance, it amazes me because if you can do good things with it, it's super high in protein and it has like the salt and cheese flavor without like any of the fat of the cheese. So I think it can be magic, but
you respect those who
oh yeah,
if you can appreciate it
and can use it well.
The nearby diner that's near and dear to your heart and mine famously has a menu item that is cottage cheese with apple butter as a side.
Yeah. that sounds like a nightmare.
It really does.
I mean, this actually sounded like a nightmare, but
Right. Yeah. You know what? I would take that over cottage cheese house. If I had to experience one in real life, I would take the audio of cottage cheese house over eating apple butter or even looking at apple butter cottage cheese.
Smelling apple butter cottage cheese would probably be all it took for me to lose my lunch.
Yeah. But just mad respect for the
Foley work
to Rob and his work in this episode, because it is truly something to write home about. Like,
oh yeah. Well, and even just the voice effects on the dwarves.
Oh yeah, no, the whole episode sounds great.
Yeah, they blew all their budget on that.
Yeah, and so
Bethany falls asleep on a bed of lettuce. Amen.
Right.
I can't imagine. Like, it looks comfy.
Yeah.
If I was small enough.
Good. Yeah. Sign me up for the lettuce bed. And then the dwarves arrive.
The demon dwarves.
When she wakes up, we get the 7 deadly dwarves. And they all reveal themselves as and introduce themselves, and boy is Lust really putting it on.
Yeah, I was surprised that they let her be so horny. In all honesty, it was astonishing. She's like salaciously getting close to the mic and using inflection.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is for children. Like, are you trying to turn them on?
No.
Was that your goal? You're 16. I'm aroused. But
I was just like, it's even wild when Ben is rattling them off in the car that he says lust.
Oh, yeah.
In Odyssey.
Yeah.
I was like, you could have just been like desire and probably been fine.
Yeah.
But you went lust, and I respect it. And then you personified lust, and you didn't hold back.
No, you did not. That was where their budget went. It went to bust out the lust.
And unfortunately, no one seems to be able to tell who is voicing the dwarves. It's not on the wiki. It's not like well credited in the episode, so we're just left to speculate.
Corey Burton's my money.
Is Corey Burton lust as well?
He's the mirror.
Yeah. And so, right, then she is given a poison apple. Mm-hmm. I really don't remember how Snow White goes as a story. Do you have enough of a... Because it is the weird thing where it's like last time Bethany's Flood was like, what if we riffed on the Bible? And this was like, what if we riffed on like Seven Deadly Sins and a fairy tale
together at the same time?
Yeah.
This will surely not cause any problems.
But yeah, there's a poison apple in Snow White?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, because that's when she falls asleep and then the prince comes and wakes her up, like kissing her. There's a lot of kissing sleeping women in the OG Disney.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm trying to think because she gets banished because the mirror says that she's going to be queen, right? And so the evil, wicked
Maleficent, right?
Yeah, Maleficent banishes her and sends her away, and so she goes and lives with the dwarves. And then
you know they made a second Maleficent.
Yes,
I think about that often as just one of those like, wow, that happened, and we've never like really reckoned with that as a culture.
No, we really. I mean, speaking of lust, did you see Angelina Jolie as Maleficent?
Right. Well, I mean, right. That's the thing is that, like we let Angelina Jolie do 2 of those.
Yeah. Why?
Like that's kind of wild. Also, is they're in some way tied to the Lily Collins Cinderella?
Are they?
Is that... I think I'm right about that.
I've only seen the first Maleficent, but I haven't seen any other of the live action ones.
Yeah.
With the exception of... I saw Beauty and the Beast, I guess, but that didn't have any tie-ins.
Have I seen any live action Disney? I don't think so. I don't think I've caught any of like these live action remakes.
I guess I saw The Jungle Book. That was good.
I didn't see Jungle Book. I didn't see Lion King. I didn't see Beauty and the Beast. I didn't see...
No, I think maybe I did see all of them.
I didn't see Cinderella.
I didn't see Cinderella.
Or either of the Maleficents.
Maleficent 2.
Maleficent is the Cinderella. Is she the Cinderella witch and not the Snow White witch?
No.
The 2 of those?
No, there is no evil witch in Cinderella.
Oh, it's just an evil stepmother.
Yeah, good witch.
Sure. Snow White and the Huntsman isn't one of those, but it feels like it is.
It should be.
Oh, and that's the other one I haven't seen, which is going to be the one that I see. Is freaking Robert Zemeckis' Pinocchio.
Oh, yeah. That is the one. Wait, did you actually watch it? No.
No, I haven't, but I'm going to. I've seen every Zemeckis movie.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be the one that breaks me.
It will, though. From everything I heard about it. Shout out Blank Check.
But is it possible that that's his worst movie?
Yeah. I think very much so. Based on my understanding of the CGI in it, I think there's a good chance it's his worst movie.
Yeah, but he's made so many. I mean, he's made so many masterpieces. And also, some stuff I don't.
He's just throwing it all at the board. They can't all stick.
Yeah. Oh man, what a man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
So the king finds out that Bethany has gone away and disappeared, and goes to the mirror. The mirror's like, nah, I won't talk. I won't tell you where she is. And then the king threatens to break the mirror, and the mirror surprisingly changed his mind. I didn't think he was going to. And so the king then goes and finds Bethany in the cottage cheese house, surrounded by the Seven Deadly Dwarves.
Yep. Oh yeah. Sorry. So we got to talk about Corey Burton's incredible performance as the mirror.
Is stunning. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah. He is doing HAL 9000 to a pitch with Dave and everything. Like it's truly, and they'll retread this ground with My Girl Hallie. But in that instance, it's a woman, so it's fun and a twist. And this is just like, I don't know, what if the mirror was Hal? Which then I'm like, implication that like Bethany has watched 2001: A Space Odyssey?
A little bit.
Which, I mean, probably fine. That movie is PG, if not G. Like, that is
it's
not...
PG,
yeah, that is not a particular... I don't think it's a movie that would be enjoyable to a child.
That was always my exposure to it. Was
also,
you can watch it if you want.
Right. Also, I guess it does have, like, evolution as a theme, which, you know... But she didn't used to be a Christian, so maybe that's the loophole. Regardless, her dad talks to this mirror, and Corey Burton kills it with the performance.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Did we mention that Snow White or Bethany decides to betray her father? The dwarves convince her to do that.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And then that doesn't actually go anywhere.
No.
But her dad, you know, arrives at the scene, refers to the dwarves as vertically and morally challenged people, which is incredible. A banger of a line.
Just absolutely gust them out of the room. You've been defeated, my friends.
Yeah. And then she... they're like, you know, we can't release her, and she's eating the poison apple unless we get someone of like equal or greater value. And so he sacrifices himself.
Classic.
Good
dad move.
Yeah, and then she asks.
That's why I don't want to have kids, because then inevitably end up dying for them.
Oh wow.
It's the only reason.
Yeah, that's very Christian nationalist of you.
Thank you.
Real father of daughters over here.
Yeah. Oh God, I'm gonna get fired.
And so she then comes to him, and he's all tied up by the dwarves, and she asks for forgiveness, and he forgives her, and that causes him to be able to free himself, and we find out the power of love is stronger than sin and death. And
a Huey Lewis in the News song. That's the power of love. Are you familiar with it?
Yeah, obviously. Okay. Robert Zemeckis tie-in.
God bless.
Oh, yeah. Coming full circle. And then they quote Corinthians 13 with all the love talk.
Oh yeah.
And how, or they do like the spin on it, which is like how all these pieces of love overcome these pieces of sin, but like it's obviously drawing heavily on that First Corinthians passage.
Yeah, and as he's going through it, is stronger than betrayal, is not provoked to anger. The Seven Deadly Dwarves get flushed down the dream drain.
Yeah, exactly. With all in their special voices as only they could.
Yep. The envious one where it's like, oh, that's me.
Yep.
And he just goes.
And then they all live happily ever after.
And the shepherds get home, and Eugene is waiting for them because of course he is.
Yeah, no reason here other than I guess they Will Ryan was already in the studio to do other voices.
Yeah,
because he plays her. No, it's not her dad. He plays. Shoot, he plays someone in the. Or no, he doesn't play someone in the dream. He plays someone in the dream, right?
Yeah. No, he voices one of the dwarves, I thought.
No. He's the hardware store man is what he's credited as on the wiki.
So he's not. Yeah, I think he's stepdad.
No. Nope. Ben is 100%.
Oh, that's Jerry.
Stepladder father.
Yeah, that's Jerry Hauser.
Jerry Hauser. But regardless, they already had Will Ryan in the studio, and they were like, what if you recorded lines as Eugene? I guess so that we could mirror the episode in which Connie experienced this. Like, there's no reason for... I don't know why Eugene's at the Timothy Center.
Well, they do that a little bit where he's like, oh, I'm just here to drop off some stuff or whatever. Some yada yada reason.
Okay. They do. I take it back. They give a reason.
Barely.
Uh-huh.
And then Bethany recounts her crazy dream to Eugene when he asks her how church was and concludes that love covers a multitude of sins, which it does.
And Eugene then argues that actually she got all of the story right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Bethany or Aubrey's like, yeah, you got it all wrong, and Eugene's like, but actually, I think you got it completely right.
Yeah, I don't know. Fun episode.
Very fun. It's very zany.
It's the dumbest. It's like the dumbest Odyssey gets, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Rather than like
a frustrating.
I will take an Odyssey that is silly over an Odyssey that is like, I don't know, evil?
Yeah, hateful.
Yeah.
Blatantly ignorant, maybe?
Right.
No, this is fun. This is fun and silly, and it's a good time. And like we said at the top, like this is kind of a period of the show where they're a bit farther away from their Bible-thumping roots. And so they're able to do kind of stuff like this, which is cool and different. And yeah. I'm real sad that there's no more split episodes. I hope they bring them back because it's just fun.
Yeah,
but they don't really have the community in Odyssey.
I don't
think
it doesn't
anymore.
Make sense. Although I think, and I could be wrong, but I think that there are some club episodes that get into this territory from the little bit of like perusing I've done.
Okay.
Where there's weird like Alice in Wonderland adaptations and stuff on the club.
But they're not split.
No, but I'm saying like tonally, I imagine get closer to this than the mainstream Odyssey ever gets.
Well,
but no split episodes, and yeah, I think, and we've got a forthcoming episode that who knows when you'll get it, but kind of we're gonna go through and recap and break down all of the split episode stuff and give our definitive rankings and whatnot. And so I think we can save some of our closing thoughts on split episode for that.
Definitely.
But yeah, this was a fun journey, a
so
great way to kill a summer and a large portion of the fall. And
appreciate everybody that listened along and likes the show and all that, and just the fun shenanigans that we get to do because we want to.
Yeah. Anything else you wanna hit on here as we wrap up, Andrew?
Any plugs per se?
Yeah. Do you want to? Well, closing thoughts. I feel like we've already covered. Yeah. So yeah, you got plugs?
Well, I already plugged Letterkenny, so there you go. It's on Hulu. Very good. Also, leaves are changing. Go look at leaves. When you see pretty leaves, say something. Make a fool out of yourself. Appreciate the trees. They're dying.
There you go. Appreciate the trees. You heard it here first, folks.
Any plugs for you?
I feel like I should plug 2001.
Yeah.
Space Odyssey.
I haven't seen it ever. I just almost said recently, but never. I really want to.
It is great. Mm-hmm. It is one where I highly recommend. It is a big enough deal that it plays theaters with a decent amount of regularity, and I highly recommend it. Yeah. I saw it about a year ago.
In theaters?
For the first time, in at the Museum of the Moving Image in New York City.
So cool.
I went to a screening of that. and then they had at the time an exhibit with tons of props
and everything.
And literal like annotated by Stanley Kubrick like scripts.
That's
and,
so
like,
cool.
All of this stuff that I had such a great time looking through. So not that exhibit is currently available at that time has passed. But
go see the movie.
If you get the chance to see it in a theater, go for it. It's a great movie to just kind of turn yourself over to.
Exactly. Just go on the ride.
Yeah, I'm always like mildly annoyed when someone pulls out a phone in a movie, like when watching a movie, but especially that
2001,
that would really be like heartbreaking.
Well, the soundtrack is just so beautiful and immersive. It just
good movie. And then I have a review to read.
1 star, presumably? One whole star for us?
This is a 5-star review from Martin Dithers, who says, very entertaining. This podcast is so much fun. I've listened to every single AIO episode multiple times, and it's always fun to hear someone else's thoughts on them. And you guys do it in such an entertaining way. I laughed during almost every episode of your podcast.
Hey, I don't laugh during every episode of the podcast, so like
No, that would be very self-aggrandizing.
Yeah,
You would never do that.
No.
So yeah, thank you, reviewers. As always, if you'd like to leave reviews for us, you can do that on our page on Apple Podcasts. If you're in the U.S., we see those reviews regularly, and that's how we know to read them. If you're not in the U.S., or if you want to leave us a review on another platform, do us a favor and send us an email or a DM on Twitter and Instagram. So get in contact with us in some way just to let us know that you did that, so we can track it down. Because, obviously the reviews are great for helping people find our show and get in that way, but they also are great for our self-esteem and like are part of what makes this show worth doing. Largely. So if not only do we want to credit you and get to read it out loud on the show, but also each and every review is meaningful to us. Yeah. Unless it's less than 5 stars.
Unless it's less, then it's actual garbage.
Yeah. So
don't allow room for that in my brain. Sorry.
So thank you all for listening to Hot Split Episode Summer and the continuation into fall. And we're going to be you probably guessed this if you've been listening to us for a while, but we're going to be going episode to episode here with maybe some Dylan's choice, maybe some Andrew's choice, probably some guest episodes.
Definitely some guest episodes.
Got some, exciting returning guests, maybe some exciting new guests,
Hold on to your butts. It's coming.
It should be a fun, just fall of guests.
Yeah. This is one of the most fun times to do the show is when we get to do it with people that we really like and some people that we admire and some people that we begrudgingly befriend and just
everyone in between.
So much fun.
Yeah, I will state once again just to set this boundary, which is, well, 2 things. One, because of the hecticness of scheduling this season, we don't announce the episode we're doing ahead of time. So when it pops up in your podcast feed, that's when you know
what it's going to be.
And the second piece is always with guest season. If you don't like the guest or have a problem with them, your problem is not with the guest, it is with us.
Yes.
So do not badger the guests on social media. If you would like to say something nice to them, go for it. And if you have something nice to say to them, but they're not on social media or you don't have the social media that they're on, feel free to send it to us and we will make sure it gets to them. But all criticisms of guests get directed at us because we're responsible for who comes on the show. So
hate me. not them.
Yeah, exactly. Like
I'm so okay with being hated.
They clearly have our endorsement if we're letting them on the show. And if for some reason we didn't like what a guest said, we wouldn't air the episode.
Yep.
So if it's going out there, like, we're here for it. And so, yeah, just be nice. Because this is one of, the most rewarding parts of doing this show. I feel like the twofold.
And if you don't play nice in the sandbox, you're gonna have to go sit in the corner, and you won't be out for recess.
So I'm sorry. You got a little bit of dad Dylan. I'll try and tone it down, but I just wanted to get that out of the way here before guest season starts. Thank you all so much for listening, and we'll see you next week with an episode
featuring someone.
Maybe just us. Who knows?
Bye, guys.
Bye.
WadFam Chalk Pod is a presentation of the Lidditz Podcast Co-op. This show is a fan podcast and has no official affiliation with Adventures in Odyssey or Focus on the Family. As such, the copyright is ours under Creative Commons. Follow the podcast at WadFamChalkPod on Twitter and Instagram, or email us at wadfamchalkpod@gmail.com. The Seven Deadly Dwarves was hosted by Dylan Weaver and Andrew Acebo, and edited by Dylan Weaver. And I'm Nathan Haverstick, hoping you'll join us again next time for more of the WadFam Chalk Pod.